When Drew Brees arrived in the NFL, a 60% completion rate was the gold standard for elite play. By the time he walked away, he had personally elevated that benchmark to 70%. He retired, holding the highest career completion percentage ever recorded. He's posted 7 separate seasons above 70% and set the single-season record at a staggering 74.4%. In a league that often glorifies cannon arms and deep-shot highlights, Brees perfected something far more lethal: the science of surgical precision. Over 80,000 passing yards, a Super Bowl that resurrected a city, and an entire era of quarterbacks forced to adapt to a new paradigm he engineered. Yet, despite a resume of such magnitude, Brees is frequently omitted from conversations about the greatest to ever play. So why is his name not mentioned with the frequency it deserves? And why does the most accurate passer in football history still feel undervalued? Drew Brees was never destined to become an NFL icon. Growing up in Austin, Texas, most didn't expect him to progress beyond high school football. Yes, his father was a former Texas A&M basketball player, his mother an all-state track star, and his uncle Marty Akins, an All-American quarterback at Texas. But Brees, he was considered slight and undersized. When he tore his ACL as a junior, many assumed his football journey was finished before it truly started. Yet, that moment became his crucible. He attacked rehabilitation, determined not merely to return, but to command the field. Command it, he did. His 1996 senior season stands among the greatest in Texas high school football history. Brees amassed over 3,500 passing yards and 31 touchdowns, piloting Westlake to a perfect 16-0 record and a state championship. He dismantled defenses, completing over 63% of his throws, and outdueled future NFL talent like running back Dominic Rhodes in the title game. Despite this, college recruiters showed minimal interest. At barely 6 feet tall, he didn't fit the prototype. He lacked imposing size and a powerhouse arm. Scouts questioned his ceiling. He was named Texas 5A Offensive Player of the Year, earned National All-American honorable mentions, yet his dream schools, Texas and Texas A&M, never called. Ultimately, he received only 2 scholarship offers: Purdue and Kentucky. He chose Purdue not for its football prestige, but for its academics. No one could have predicted that decision would redefine Big Ten history. As a freshman, Brees rarely played. But by his sophomore year, head coach Joe Tiller entrusted him with the reins of an unorthodox spread offense dubbed basketball on grass. The moment Brees took over, the trajectory shifted. In just his second season, he tied an NCAA single-game record with 55 completions against Wisconsin and set a record with 83 pass attempts in one contest, a mark that stood for 15 years. As a senior, he led the Boilermakers to landmark victories over Ohio State and Michigan, ending a 33-year drought and securing Purdue's first Rose Bowl berth since 1967. That year, he won the Maxwell Award, finished third in Heisman voting, and cemented his place among college football's most decorated quarterbacks. Upon departing West Lafayette, he held 2 NCAA records, 13 Big Ten records, and 19 Purdue records, finishing with over 11,700 yards, 90 touchdowns, a 61.8% completion rate, and a reputation as one of the country's smartest, toughest, and most accurate passers. Still, scouts echoed the same old critiques: too short, arm not strong enough, not NFL caliber talent. At the Combine, his measurements did little to change minds. 6'0", 213 pounds, a 4.83-second 40-yard dash, and a 32-inch vertical. Solid, but not eye-popping. Especially compared to the electrifying hype around Michael Vick, who ran like a tailback and threw with explosive force. Brees, by contrast, appeared merely adequate. The Chargers originally held the first overall pick in the 2001 draft and needed a quarterback. Then the phone rang. The Atlanta Falcons were desperate for Vick, so San Diego traded down to the 5th pick, still intending to select a passer. Brees at 5 seemed logical, but the Chargers passed, selecting TCU running back LaDainian Tomlinson instead. The first round continued. Team after team bypassing Brees. He wasn't selected until the first pick of the second round, 32nd overall, when the Chargers circled back. It wasn't the first-round dream. It felt like a consolation prize. But that was the story of Drew Brees' life. Every doubt, every rejection, every instance of being told he wasn't enough fit, all became fuel. Brees spent his rookie season largely on the bench behind veteran Doug Flutie. His only action came in Week 8 after a Flutie concussion, where he threw for over 200 yards and his first career touchdown, a fleeting glimpse of promise. By 2002, he was named the starter. The Chargers began 6-1, and hope flourished. But the magic dissolved. They collapsed to an 8-8 finish, with Brees throwing 17 touchdowns against 16 interceptions. By mid-2003, fans booed as the 1-2-7 Chargers benched him for Flutie. When Flutie also struggled, Brees regained the job. The team finished with the league's worst record at 4-12, granting them the first overall pick in the 2004 draft. Instead of bolstering Brees' supporting cast, they pursued his replacement. First Eli Manning, then, after Manning refused to play in San Diego, Phillip Rivers. It seemed Brees' tenure was ending. But with Rivers waiting, Brees delivered the finest football of his career. 27 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions, a 12-4 record, and the Chargers' first division title in a decade. He won Comeback Player of the Year, made the Pro Bowl, and had seemingly secured his place. As former NFL quarterback Trent Dilfer noted, Drew was the first guy that meticulously took you apart, made you bleed out by 1,000 cuts. It was about being a surgeon, not a butcher. 2005 built on that momentum and other Pro Bowl, nearly 3,600 yards, wins over elite teams. Then, in the season finale against Denver, disaster struck. Chasing a fumble, Brees was crushed by a collision that shredded his throwing shoulder, torn labrum, and rotator cuff. The injury was so severe doctors wondered if he'd ever throw again. The Chargers faced a choice: commit to the injured quarterback who just revived his career, return to the healthy, first-round heir apparent. The choice was clear. They chose Rivers. Just like that, Drew Brees went from Pro Bowler to a free agent with an uncertain future. Two franchises showed interest: Miami and New Orleans. Dolphins head coach Nick Saban wanted Brees, but team doctors deemed his shoulder too great a risk. Miami traded for Dante Culpepper, instead a decision that precipitated Saban's exit to Alabama a year later. That left New Orleans, a franchise adrift in a city still shattered by Hurricane Katrina. Newly hired head coach Sean Payton needed a cornerstone. Brees, damaged shoulder and all, became his calculated risk. Against all odds, Brees signed a 6-year, $60 million contract. A damaged quarterback for a damaged city. From the first game back in the rebuilt Superdome, the energy was transcendent. Brees quickly silenced doubters. 314 yards and 3 scores against Tampa. Career-high 510 yards against Cincinnati, 5 touchdowns in primetime against Dallas. He led the league with 4,418 passing yards, earned All-Pro honors, and was an MVP runner-up. More crucially, he transformed a 3-13 team into a 10-6 division champion. In his first postseason with New Orleans, he led a thrilling win over Philadelphia, sending the Saints to their first NFC Championship game. There, on the frozen turf of Soldier Field, the Bears' defense ended the run by 2008. Brees was operating at a historic level, throwing for 5,069 yards, just 15 shy of Don Marino's record with 10 300-yard games. He won Offensive Player of the Year, becoming only the second QB ever to cross 5,000 yards. Yet, a porous defense left the Saints at 8-8, again outside the playoffs. Those years revealed a truth. Brees wasn't just back. He was better than ever. In 2009, everything converged. The Saints started 13-0. The city's spirit and the team's execution became inseparable. After a slight stumble, they entered the playoffs as the NFC's top seed. They dismantled Arizona in the divisional round. The NFC Championship against Brett Favre's Vikings was a brutal, turnover-filled battle. Brees threw 3 touchdowns, and in overtime, Field goals sent New Orleans to its first Super Bowl. Facing Peyton Manning's Colts, the Saints were underdogs. After falling behind, Sean Payton called an audacious onside kick to open the second half, a gamble that shifted momentum. Brees was flawless, completing 32 of 39 passes, tying a Super Bowl record. A late touchdown pass to Jeremy Shockey gave them the lead. And Tracy Porter's iconic pick six sealed a 31-17 victory. Brees was Super Bowl MVP, standing on the podium, confetti falling, holding his son and the Lombardi Trophy. He symbolized a city's resurrection, but he was far from finished. In 2011, he authored one of the greatest seasons ever: 5,476 yards, 46 touchdowns, and a 71.2% completion rate, shattering Marino's long-standing yardage record. The Saints went 13-3. Yet, in the playoffs, a last-second touchdown by Vernon Davis in San Francisco ended their run in heartbreaking fashion. 2012 brought the Bountygate scandal. Head coach Sean Payton was suspended for the season. The Saints started 0-4 amid the chaos. Brees broke Johnny Unitas's legendary 47-game touchdown streak, extending it to 55, and again surpassed 5,000 yards, proving no turmoil could derail his precision. The following years became a paradox of individual brilliance and team limitation. From 2014 to 2016, despite Brees throwing for nearly 5,000 yards each season, including a 5,200-yard campaign in 2016 with a 70% completion rate, the Saints posted 3 consecutive 7-9 records. He played through a torn plantar fascia in 2015, throwing for 4,870 yards and tying an NFL record with 7 touchdown passes in one game. Help finally arrived in 2017, a balanced roster featuring Alvin Kamara and an improved defense lifted the burden. Brees set a then-singled-season completion record, 72.0%, and the Saints returned to the playoffs. After a decisive wild-card win, they faced Minnesota. With seconds left, leading by 1, they were 10 seconds from the NFC Championship. Then came the Minneapolis Miracle, a walk-off touchdown that snatched victory away, undaunted. Brees returned in 2018 with a historic 74.4% completion rate. The Saints earned the NFC's top seed at 13-3. In the NFC Championship against the Rams, with under 2 minutes left, a clear pass interference penalty against a Rams defender was inexplicably not called, robbing New Orleans of a chance to clinch the game. They lost in overtime, the infamous NOLA no call. In 2019, he tore a ligament in his thumb, missing 5 games. He returned to deliver a masterpiece. 29 of 34, 307 yards and 4 touchdowns, a 96.7% completion rate on Monday Night Football against the Colts. The Saints went 1-3-3, but fell in overtime in the wildcard round. The 2020 season saw a dominant opening win over Tom Brady's new Buccaneers team. Later, Brees would suffer 11 fractured ribs and a collapsed lung. He missed 4 games but returned to face the defending champion Chiefs. On Christmas Day, he became the first quarterback ever to reach 80,000 career passing yards. The Saints won the NFC South. In the divisional round, destiny offered Brees versus Brady, but age and injury showed. Brees threw 3 interceptions in a 30-20 loss. After the game, he lingered on the field, sharing a moment with his family, a silent farewell. On March 14, 2021, exactly 15 years after signing with New Orleans, Drew Brees announced his retirement. He arrived when the city and franchise were broken. Through sheer precision and will, he provided a beacon. The physical cost was steep. Today, the arm that carved NFL defenses can barely be lifted above his shoulder, forcing him to throw left-handed with his children. Perhaps that is the ultimate testament to who Drew Brees was. Never the most physically gifted, but relentlessly precise. A perfectionist who extracted every ounce of potential and redefined accuracy. He compiled 80,000 yards, a mountain of records, and stands as the most precise passer the game has seen. Yet, in GOAT debates, his name is often an afterthought. Why? He lacked the no-look flair of Patrick Mahomes, the cannon arm of Brett Favre, or the dynastic backdrop of Tom Brady. As his former teammate Zach Strief observed, Drew throws 35 passes. All 35 are within 2 feet of where they were intended. You walk away thinking, that guy is efficient. You don't necessarily walk away thinking, that guy is a freak of nature. But that was the irony. His surgical consistency was so routine it became underappreciated. The very quality that made him extraordinary, making the impossible look effortless, was his curse in the highlight reel era. In the end, that might be the greatest proof of his unparalleled greatness.